David, I wanted to come back to the question about how I see Muslims becoming Christians often.
Mhm.
When I was 13 and a Muslim tried to convert me to Islam, you met an ex-Muslim and it was a rarity. It was like gold dust. Today,
What year was this about?
oh, nearly 20 years ago plus.
Yeah,
Um,
I was just talking about that with I think I was talking about that with Harris Sultan, who's an ex-Muslim atheist. But I pointed out that back when I was getting started, 2005, 2006, after Nabil converted, it was rare. I mean,
yeah,
you could count on one hand the number of ex-Muslims who were speaking publicly on anything, to do with this and stuff. And
yeah,
I pointed out that back then, um, it seemed so difficult to win Muslim converts. I mean, I spent 4 years talking to one guy.
yeah,
You took 4 years, so you don't have like a Billy Graham crusade where thousands of Muslims are leaving Islam and so on. So I thought I would be better off spending my time showing people that they shouldn't convert to Islam. And so for a while,
mm,
that's what I was more focused on. Whereas now, everywhere, they're everywhere. So yeah, go ahead. So you were talking about
yeah.
back when you were
I was
starting
getting,
something similar.
yeah. It was really similar. You met an ex-Muslim, and it was like, whoa, please, like, can I touch you? Are you real? It was such a rare thing. But today, like in my own fellowship, we have two converts from Islam. There are other Muslims who are inquiring. Today, I was with someone who goes to a fellowship in Bristol. They have three converts there. Then I went to meet some other friends. And one of the people in the circle is an ex-Muslim himself. Loads of Muslims are leaving Islam and becoming Christians.
Hmm.
I've got other people that I'm in contact with who are, like the commentator that made the comment that I want to do live streams with, and we're negotiating about capturing their testimony on record, and they're saying that they've become Christian from a Muslim background. So it's happening a lot more than the Dawah team ever want to admit. Statistics show, well, not statistics, evidence suggests that possibly up to nearly half of Iranians now have abandoned Islam. We know that the Kurds don't care about Islam. We know that the Turks don't care about Islam. Like, the Arabs themselves see it more cultural. Go to Morocco. They just don't care about Islam. It's a national pride thing. That's what it is. It's not I care about the deen of Muhammad. I care about my Arab identity, and Islam is connected to that. And the rot is even that there's evidence in Saudi Arabia itself.
Hmm.
The Muslims that care about Islam the most are the ones who come from subcontinental Asia: Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, Indians.
Hmm. Yeah, and even before the rise of ISIS, I was reading studies about Iraq that the young generation was completely turned off to Islam. They regarded it as the source of problems in society. Islam was just a source of problems for them. That was before ISIS. I can only imagine what they think now that seeing the havoc that was brought upon their country. But yeah, so we have this comment by Tibbs here, and also Jamal Khan here says, I started watching Bob from Pakistan. I'm ex-Muslim, and because of Bob, I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior.
Thanks be to God.
And here's Hi X17. I was a Muslim, but I left Islam, and my family doesn't know. Thank you for bringing me to Christ, you and Sam both. So in response to the question, how often do we see people becoming Christians? Do we see Muslims becoming Christians, or do we see Muslims leaving Islam? I hear from them pretty much every day that I'm paying attention. In other words, anytime I pay attention to the comment section of my videos, I usually read about people who say, "Hey, I've left Islam." Now, lots of them are becoming atheists or agnostics because, as Muslims, they very often had a very negative view towards Christianity, and so some of them retain a negative view towards Christianity, and just because of how they've seen everything they've been taught turned out to be false, they just don't trust religion in general anymore. But you also have people who they come to reject Muhammad and they come to reject the Quran, but they still believe in God. They still believe that they can trust Jesus and so on. So it's more natural for those kinds of people to become Christians. But yeah, one or the other, either Muslims leaving Islam and becoming atheists or agnostics, or Muslims leaving Islam and becoming Christians. I see that pretty much every time I go to the comment section of my videos. So really, I keep telling people this, because you look around and you see the terrorist attacks and you see riots and you see persecution of Christians and everything that's going on. It's very easy to be discouraged and say, oh, what awful times. And it's like, what are you talking about? This is the greatest time in the history of humanity. If you want to reach Muslims with the gospel, there is no generation before us that could have even dreamed of the opportunities that we have right now. And I keep telling people, I say, I believe if Christians actually go, if the church as a whole, not every single Christian, but if just a good portion of Christians actually sit down and say, let's figure out responses to these objections that Muslims have, and let's actually do a little bit of research and go out and do what Bob the Builder is doing, go out and do what Hatun is doing, and go out and do what they're doing. I believe we will see more Muslims come to Christ in our generation alone than all prior generations combined have seen.
Oh yeah,
just because it's right here.
And that's already happening. That's already happening. I mean, there's such a rate of conversion in Indonesia that it's got Muslims rattled that actually, Indonesia could become a Christian series of islands. The Islamic world is afraid. Mm-hmm. The Islamic world is afraid that in a straight out argument they're going to lose. And the reason why they're going to lose is because history contradicts everything that they believe. The crucifixion is one of the surest facts in history, and the Quran denies it. Mm-hmm. So it's denying one of the surest facts in history, and the Quran claims that if it was from any other than Allah, we would find many errors and contradictions therein. And lo, we do.